Many thanks to the organizers for this invitation to participate in this international event on electronic public contracting. I had the great pleasure of participating in last year's event, and coming back this year is a double pleasure. My talk's going to be very short. I always like to keep my talks short because at this time of day you've heard lots of speakers, lots of ideas and lots of other, and we must be restrained in our use of the time. So I want to comment, read you the following comments. With my computer on the train from Barcelona, I've been able to write it out. I understand that legal legislation on contracting in Spain and Europe is still limited. It's based on the transfer of documents, electronic or physical, but a document at the end of the day. And the document needs to be interpreted. Its contents have to be interpreted by a human through reading, and then this person issues or expresses a will or criterion through the exercise of a particular activity or competency. Then the authority of expense requires the reading of the entire procurement document in paper or in electronic format for the correct allocation of the document. And then there's the solicitor who has to read all the technical and administrative specifications, and then issues a report which has to be signed, again, in paper or electronic format. And then there's a correction which can again be processed for the continuation of the file. And then there's the technical office which analyzes the project designs that are submitted. And the technical office is specialized, and they also issue a report and sign it. Then there are specialists who prepare and sign the document on the technical specifications for the acquisition of goods and services. And then there are the members of the contracting panel. They certify that the annual accounts correspond to the correct overall turnover in the amount specified in the documentation, and if not, they have to begin a complementary period for the provision of additional documentation in electronic or paper format. The legal capacity to enter into contracts is confirmed through the verification of the memorandum of incorporation of the company. An agreement is signed to take part in a central purchasing agency, and then you have all the different agencies associated with all the companies, and this requires an additional procedure for the selection of the best tender. And this is the process, forgive me. I just wanted to send you all to sleep quickly. This is repeated simultaneously in every tender from all the public administrations and the public sector in general. So, say thousands of people in the exercise of their respective functions and powers have to be involved in public procurement processes. Thousands of repetitive identical acts for different companies that are repeating for similar products, goods and services. So in the same year, year after year, thousands of hours, millions of euros are being invested and wasted in the selection phases for the best bid. Tools can be used, such as electronic signature or the encrypting of the bids and the electronic registers. They're arriving and they're beginning to be used, and they're beginning already to lighten the burden. But the essence of the procedure is the same. The way the process is considered is still based on the involvement of people who assess the documents they read, and in a series of individual acts which amount to a total procedure. Even today, with the new bill, they have to be submitted in two separate envelopes, two separate bids, so they can be assessed with a value judgment independently. And then the content of that valuation will then have to be subjected to criteria defined in the court. A recklessly low bid, or hearing the comments of the parties excluded, etc., etc. The computerized and technical resources available for ICT allow us to reconsider this. So let me repeat what I said before. The technical and computerized resources available now in ICT allow us to consider other proposals. The identification of the legal requirements for participating, the technical requirements that need to be met for the contract, the selection procedure for the best bid, the system for verification of the enforcement of the contract, the environmental conditions and the social conditions are ... What? What are they? This is mere data. These are not documents. It's mere data. Modern society is an information society, a society based on data. Data moves across networks, and they are growing automated decisions in an exponential manner. These data can be introduced into computer systems, and these systems can automate the systems depending on the design and the application applied by a human operator. So we can computerize farming crops from a whole country, and in the future are organized in an electronic auction in only a few seconds. Auctions in which global funds are involved across the globe. So we've got thousands of citizens are not limited to a single territory. The processes for declaration of taxes and collection, which is currently underway at the moment, concentrate the related data of an individual person through their ID card or the tax code of a company. An integrated electronic procurement system could be based on, for a very large extent, on the automation of data processing for the entire country, and in some cases at the European level. In Spain, to do that, we need to have a much more collaborative approach among all the public administrations, the central state administration, the regional governments, and the local authorities. And the data identifying the natural and legal persons must be uploaded to the supplier's portal. And this would be fed by a computer system shared by all the public administration and be uniform across the board. The data would be put in there by the companies themselves, who would have to register on the portal. The supplier's portal would contain all the essential information for all the entities that want to take part in the public call for tenders, and they would be provided automatically from and verified by the notaries public, the companies register, the social security, the tax authorities, etc. And all the companies in this way would have automated classification and ranking based on the data submitted and verified, and this would define their business activity, their economic activity according to the CNAE and the common vocabulary, and their territorial scope, the number of employees by gender and province, the number of employees under employment contract, whether these employment contracts are open-ended or only time-limited, the level of churn, the protocols for quality and environmental concerns, the social responsibility criteria, the reconciliation of work-life balance, etc., etc., etc.
Companies would receive a grade awarded by the granting authorities based on objective criteria related to the contracts. The previous grades of contracts will allow them to access public tendering depending on the requirements of the tendering authority, and this would help companies to improve in the quality of their tenders. Public purchases would have protocols defined based on the types of goods and services. The public purchaser will enter the different characteristics and the average period for providers, the scope, territorial scope, other aspects. This portal would offer all the basic technical prescriptions, including social and environmental characteristics. And they would have different options so that the purchasing authority can take the final decision. This would include the electronic catalogs of goods and services and data for public procurement required by administration bodies, including maximum prices they're willing to pay, would include based on this intersection of data, this would create a list of pre-candidates. Then we would need a more detailed list. It would be offered by the portal, and with this we will have the final selection. Information on the SMEs, how this company ranks in terms of social and environmental standards. Public tender can offer the final tender to the best 3 companies, or they can directly award the contract. So this allows us to generate a shopping bag with products from different providers. Thousands of data associated with the characteristics of these companies and their products, and thousands of data of public purchases which are crossed in IT environments and generate procurement processes. Contracts are executed in the portal, which means they're secure. Administrative resolutions and courts which forbid to enter this kind of procedures are also included. No public acts are carried out, no envelope is open. It is not necessary to have a delay for submissions because companies freely register in this portal. At any time they can renew their general catalogs or general tenders. There's no need for specifications because they're already there. It's based on the purchase experience of the buyers. There's no need for a system of classifying companies, of bidders for every administration. What about principles of equal treatment and other principles, motivation for acts? I think that new systems are possible. There are many things ahead of us. And this is good news for objectivity because data will be treated automatically. Electronic files, procurement files adapted to the legislation currently in force, will not hold in the face of the first storm of electronic public procurement. These platforms can increase efficiency with new systems. Templates for documents don't have sense anymore. The need to create specifications for each tendering process is not necessary anymore. Technical personnel can provide with data from previous contracts, quality indicators, which are used as feedback for other procedures. The Spanish Agency of Electronic Public Procurement manages the process. They issue quality rules for products and services, company rankings, price ratios, basic product catalogs compared to the ones provided by the companies. There are meetings of public bidders and private companies. And this creates new models of procurement. Municipal associations take part in these processes, and also from different administrations and different levels within the administrations. Purchase centers become a single portal with information from all the administrations. In the internet, information is provided to the market and to public administrations on electronic procurement. There's new information available, it's systematized, data are aggregated, and they can use to have a general picture of acquisitions, volumes awarded to the same provider, a list of contracts which were improperly executed. From small town councils to the biggest of the administrations, they all help to improve this system of e-procurement. There are no minor contracts. The open procedure has lost its meaning. All recommendations are present in public decisions. We have checked different systems in France, Italy, or Chile, which are already living in these scenarios. In the meanwhile, the European regulation is fighting with the European Single Procurement Document, which will need to be revised in 2018. Regulation does not match reality anymore and the needs of the public administrations. The bill for public procurement does not foresee the creation of a body to deal with e-procurement, and it does not regulate the new procedures of electronic procurement. We're not going to find this in the project, but this is a typo. The members of the Parliament they want to create a public agency, a collaboration organization where all the public administrations are present to execute the comprehensive system of e-procurement. It will be several actions will be created. One technological action which will issue all the standards to be fulfilled by all the e-procurement bodies. In this agency, we will have the most important business associations from every industry and also from public administrations. And together they will define technical prescriptions, which will be standardized and include social and environmental aspects. There will be more than 500 technical personnel, technical employees. They will offer technical assistance to all the Spanish public administrations. They have produced many regulations, and there's a general rule regulating the functioning of e-procurement. In their website, there are thousands of daily visits, and it's generally acknowledged by the economic industry and also the administrations that Spain has improved in e-procurement and reached some standards that places at the forefront of Europe. I think the future could look like this story I've just told, and this is the end of the tale.
¿Se puede poner? Buenos días a todos.
Good morning. My name is Luis Valadares Tavares. Valadares is a Spanish surname. As you know, from the 16th century, someone from the 16th century came to Lisbon, he fell in love with a Portuguese woman, and here I am. I hope you understand me, and if you don't, please raise your hand and I'll try to explain. I'm a teacher at university. I love to listen to Paco because he has a lot of experience in public procurement. I'm from the academic world. I don't buy. In my family, it's my wife, the one who buys. I speak about buying, but she buys. Many years I've been working in managing contracts and digital economy for many years. I'm also the president of a very clever association called APMEP. We have technologists, lawyers, providers, regulators. In Portugal, we have a regulation system for public markets, and therefore we have an institution whose mission is to regulate public procurement, including managing electronic platforms, reports, etc. I would like to say that I've worked with the European Commission and the European Parliament in the drafting of new directives, which is the subject of this session. I would like to start by asking you, why do we have new directives? Because we had directives from 2004, and in many states they weren't fully implemented. For example, in Portugal and Spain, some of the procedures were barely used. For example, in this room, has someone used systems of dynamic acquisition? This procedure dates back from 2004, and we're in 2017, 13 years. The dynamic acquisition systems, for example, I've worked with INAP, the National Institute for Administration, and it introduced these systems because it was a wonderful experience imported from the private industry, from the private sector. Many companies were applying this kind of systems. And we said, okay, it's a good idea, let's put this into the public markets, but 13 years have gone by. So why have these new directives been developed? Is there any quick answer? Otherwise, I'll ask Paco. They were introduced because there was a meeting in 2010. It was a very critical meeting with the Commissioner Michel Barnier, the same Commissioner which is now negotiating Brexit. You already know what Brexit is. It's a difficult problem. He was the commissioner, coordinated the internal market, including public markets. And there was a meeting in 2009. The economic crisis started. It hasn't finished. And public markets represent 18% of GDP. 2020 agenda is it's highly delayed, and we, people working in public markets, we haven't helped at all. Can't we change this? This was a very simple question. How can we allow public markets to help Europe to overcome the crisis and make developments in our 2020 agenda? The goal was not creating more legal work. Of course, there were developments introduced in this directive. They came from the case law of the European Court of Justice. Every new directive includes its case law, and there was an interesting case which could take we could have a course on this thing. In-house contracting is very in contracting is a very important thing, which means that we are mutually contracting each other within the public sector. And since this is very important, we have changed a lot, and I think that the legal technicians, they didn't see how much this has changed. In Portugal, we are very developed compared to the rest of the EU in terms of in contracting. But the goal was, how can we use so much money, so much value, 18% of our GDP, to help to overcome the crisis? When we speak about sustainability, of course, this is a goal within this agenda. I don't agree when traditionally in our cultures we speak about secondary goals of public procurement. I think it's a mistake. I cannot say that the future of my children is secondary. It's not secondary. Introducing environmental or sustainability criteria cannot be considered secondary for the public interest. That's why the main law professors have agreed to speak about horizontal policies or goals, but not secondary, or worse, subordinated. But this is a core goal. The other one is rejecting the crisis. In order to reject crisis, we have to channel this demand, this important demand, to qualified companies. I had a teacher at Columbia University, William Baumol, who passed away a week ago. He used to say that there are two ways to public strategies to help companies. One of them is to give subsidies, and the other one is to buy right. When you give subsidies, you introduce corruption and distortions in the market. And if you buy properly, you can empower or qualify. This is very interesting. There was just one study on this issue. We have to buy well, with a strategy, a sustainable strategy, a strategy to receive benefits or profits, and being efficient with quality parameters, higher requirements. We cannot have low-quality purchases. All the directives were designed to orient procurement in this sense. And within this context, why is this so important? There are 4 reasons. I don't have a lot of time for this. This is good news for you, survivors of this conference. I hope you survive until the end of my presentation. There are 4 principles. First of all, continuity. Continuity is important because very often, as it was said in the previous panel, we cannot continue to use paper. The world has changed. If you analyze a public entity, today you always have a digital ERP. So the creation of the contract is digital. So let's imagine that I have this digital system. If the procurement is made on paper, I have to change from digital to paper. It's in red because I don't like paper. But then the economic operator is a company. It has IT systems. It's digitalized. But they need to take part in the bidding using paper. Then everything is paper, and then we go to the procurement committee. This committee needs to digitize everything again to treat the information. And then in the awarding process, we go back to paper, etc. So what does this mean? Paper means a lot of transitions from paper into digital and backwards. And this means printing on paper, introducing data, entering data with many mistakes. It's suicidal. The problem that we have the same problems now than in the 50s. So this principle of continuity in public management is not an option. Procurement has to take place digitally. Any purchase over €5 is digital. Why? Because one of the main problems is inventories. They're never up to date. But if we make our purchases on a platform, there's a small software included there with an inventory system, so the inventories are always updated. In the past, many things disappeared, and this is not the case anymore. Why? For example, stamps, because every stamp I have acquired has been entered in the inventory system with a code, name, etc. Public management gets out of obscurity to have a state where we have 100% information.
The second principle is the principle of transparency. Now they've got electronic systems, all the information about the award bodies and the economic agents, the suppliers. Now they're all part of databases. They're all on our information systems. So this means that in Portugal, at least, what we had, the few cases we've had of corruption, well, the many cases, in fact, of corruption, haven't been based on electronic systems. They're hiding in the paper systems. So this system is more transparent. So what's associated with that? There's a problem with the prevention of corruption. This is a European Commission chart, not very clear, but this is the perception by citizens about the presence of corruption associated with public procurement. In the case of Portugal, it's much higher than Spain, the second highest on the chart, but Spain's pretty high too. So when we're having arguments about public procurement, I don't think we should be forgetting about the question of the prevention of corruption. This is a challenge. It's a problem that exists, and it's something that needs to be discussed. And one of the best strategies that we have is the recommendation of the European Commission to have electronic procurement systems. And also there's the economic argument that Paco was referring to, Paco Blasquez was referring to earlier. There's a question of the reduction of costs. On the one hand, We've got the problem of filing the bids, and sometimes there are multiple ministries involved, and then the European authorities. So if I got a document which is more than 7 or 8 years old, then this is an adventure to try to find it. Sometimes you never find the paper copy again, because the office has changed, there's been a flood in the building, because nobody knows where it was filed. So there's always a problem. Well, electronic systems allow you to have electronic log files and permanent archives which are based on a thematic index. If you're looking for a particular type of company, it's very easy to do. You have a list of all the contracts with that particular company. Or perhaps you can have a classification of different types of contracts. In addition, the electronic system offers something very interesting, which is the networking and interconnectivity between companies and the contracting authorities and the systems. Because in the digital economy, and you have a very famous Spanish lecturer, Professor Castel, who talks very well and very great length in California and Barcelona about the subject, the digital economy is based on networks. And this type of conference is a very important one because of the facility for networking it provides. And people are very sad when all the times we do a call for tenders, we have to go back and do everything. They have to identify themselves, who they are, what they do. And I was here last week and I submitted all the documentation for a previous call for tender, but if it doesn't matter, you have to go back and start again. That's stupid. Well, the electronic system does that for you. So we have the opportunity to introduce changes. What I would like to say that we have lots of activity in our association. You're welcome to join us. We have an online magazine to which you can contribute. Your contributions will be very welcome. They have a meeting in Lisbon on the 21st of June and a congress on the 26th of September. And just last week, there was a new code for public contracts that was approved recently for the transfer and the application of these new directives. But since you're already very tired, I think the synthesis of this short talk is this portrait. Where is this? This is the start of this building. It was there at the hall when you entered the building on the right-hand side. It's a copy of the famous painting, which I believe is in the Prado. This is interesting because you can draw an analogy with us, because what we have, we are the clinicians are the suppliers and the purchasers. And in the middle is the heaven, the platform, the electronic platform. And in this stage, we are at the beginning of the electronic contracting. Why are we still at the start? Because all the suppliers are looking at the platform, they're examining, because they don't understand the platform yet. They're trying to see how they can use it in future, and this is not good. The subject of electronic procurement will lead to another painting, which has not been painted yet, in which the suppliers and the physicians will be looking at each other, not at the platform. We can take the platform for granted. The Vortal platform will be the ideal. When nobody talks about Vortal, it will be perfect. The Vortal electronic platform that tries to convince the buyers and the suppliers to use it without remembering the platform, that will be the best platform in the world. And that has been the purpose of my talk. Thank you very much for your attention.